Aye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7:01. We're going to return to open session. Ms. Mayfield, roll call, please.
Absolutely. President Oshinsky,
Present.
Vice President Tate, Board Clerk Sheridan,
Present.
Trustee Aguilar,
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Present.
Trustee Pearl, Trustee Perola, Student Board Member Trustee Proctor.
Present.
All board members and student board member present.
Thank you, Ms. Mayfield. Report on closed session action items. The Board of Education took the following action in closed session in accordance with Government Code Section 54957B and Education Code 35146 and 48912. Number one, to appoint Jeff Sloan to the position of Vice Principal at Bancroft Middle School by a vote of 6-0. This item was moved by Trustee Aguilar and seconded by Trustee Tate. Number two, to appoint Emily Rose Hill to the position of Vice Principal at Madison Elementary School by a 6-0 vote, moved by Trustee Sheridan and seconded by Trustee Perola. The board has directed the superintendent and or designee to deliver the proper notifications to the affected parties. Next, please join Trustee Sheridan with the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag. Thank you, Trustee Sheridan. Next up, we have mission statement. Trustee Tate.
The mission of the San Leandro Unified School District is to educate students to achieve academic excellence in order to become confident, collaborative, and engaged citizens in a community rich in heritage and diverse in culture where we value our traditions and embrace innovation.
Thank you, Trustee Tate. Our equity statement. Trustee Aguilar.
Board of Trustees believes that the diversity that exists among the district's community of students, staff, parents, and guardians, and community members are integral to the district's vision, mission, and goals. Addressing the needs of the most marginalized learners requires recognition of the inherent value of diversity and acknowledgement that educational excellence requires a commitment to equity in the opportunities provided to students and the resulting outcome.
Thank you, Trustee Aguilar. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
All moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Trustee Aguilar, seconded by Trustee Gonzalez. All those in favor? Please vote. Motion carries 7+1. Legal statement. Members of the audience who wish to address the board are asked to raise your hand via Zoom during the meeting when the item is reached on the agenda, or for non-agenda items during the public testimony item, and wait to start speaking when you're called upon. Comments sent prior to the board meeting have been provided to members of the board in advance of the meeting. Some that only recently came in are read aloud now. Please note the meeting is being recorded. State law prohibits the Board of Education from taking any action on or discussing items that are not on the posted agenda, except to A, briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public in attendance, B, ask questions for clarification, C, provide a reference to staff member or other resource for factual information in response to the inquiry, or D, ask a staff member to report back on the matter at the next meeting and or put it on a future agenda. Government Code 54954.2A. Ms. Mayfield, we have no comments. All right, next up, bond report. Citizens Bond Oversight Committee report.
Good evening, board members and Dr. McLaughlin. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to Shane Hare, who is the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee chairperson, and he'd like to give the annual report of the CBOC. So with that, I'll let Shane go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everyone. As Aaron said, I'm Shane Hare, CBOC Chair. Today, I'm going to go ahead and present on the measure J1 and N Citizens Bond Oversight Committee and the overall progress. What we see here on the screen on the I guess the title screen is this Lincoln High School. This is just the as you see the building, the walls have been erected, and this was actually at the start of the project. We'll see further progress in a few seconds here. Of course, we couldn't do this work without our fellow committee members. We actually have a total of 7, including myself. The screen here is what you see is you actually again see another picture of Lincoln High School, the interior this time, where the sheetrock drywall have been completed, installation, overall ductwork, and other infrastructure. Now we'll go ahead and kind of transition into the J1 bond issuance. You will see that with the bond series A in 2017, 47,260,000 was actually issued. And then later on in 2019, series B, $50,240,000 were issued. And then following in February 2019 for technology funding, and then again, April 2021, 3,250,000 was actually issued in those 2 time periods. All right, update with the in bond issuance for a total of 198 million. However, with both the bond series A, B, and C for in May 2020, 75 million, and then again in 2022, 75 million. And then later on, that November in 2022, 5 million was actually issued. Now we're going to go ahead and just kind of give you a quick status update of just the progress of the construction with some of the schools in San Leandro here. What we see here on the screen here is the overall foundation actually been poured and set, footings, and it looks like they're just continuing on the work there. And this is actually in the south part of the campus at San Leandro High School. And the estimated completion date for this project is fall of 2024. All right, again, coming back to Lincoln High School, completion is actually later on in the fall of this year. We actually see the exterior of the building. You see the framing of the doors, new windows, stucco, roofing, as well as paint has already been applied to the building. A little bit more work to do, but the construction teams are making great progress here. All right, finally here, now we're going to transition to John Muir Middle School. This is the outdoor shading structure area. A lot of great work has been done out here. They kind of turned land into pavers, and they're going to actually install and planters and landscaping, and finish by actually painting the shade structure there. Based on the review and observations of the Citizen Board Oversight Committee, we find that the San Leandro Unified School District is in compliance with the requirements of Article 8A, Section 1B3 of the California Constitution, and that funds are being used for the purposes specified by the ballot language. We find as a committee that that San Leandro Unified School District is in full compliance. And then finally here, as I say thank you here, this is another project at Bancroft Middle School here. They just completed the shaded structure. They just completed the painting, the painting of the structure. That project is actually completed in our opinion. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
All right, first up, we have Trustee Gonzalez.
Yeah, first I want to say thank you very much for the work you do. It's really important. Our community has voted on these funds and authorized to use these funds, and having this committee look and make sure they're used correctly is very, very important to keep the trust of our community. So thank you for the work you do. I know it's not always easy. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Tate.
I also want to say thank you for your commitment to the project, you and your other fellow committee members. I saw some familiar names and I saw new names. So it's always nice to have community involvement in these projects. And I thank you for the update.
Welcome. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Trustee Sheridan.
my comments are going to be no different. Wanted to thank you again for the presentation and also for the work that you do on the CBOC. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rolla.
Sorry, I'm going to say thank you also, but I wanted to ask if when this gets more finished and, you know, got the paint on and so on, can you take us on a little tour?
I think that's
Somebody do
possible,
that.
right, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it all when it's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Thank you for all the people on your committee for taking time out of your evenings and going through all our numbers and making sure keeping everything on the up and up. You can come on the tours when we do them as well.
Sounds good. I would be happy to.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Aaron. We're Dr. McLaughlin and I were talking, I swear the last time, Aaron, that we saw Lincoln was just a shell. And now to see it in this, it's like watching a time lapse. It's going so fast. It seems like we just broke ground on that. So it's really amazing to see all of these things come to fruition. So thank you for your presentation and thank you for your work on the committee. Really appreciate it. All right, next up, we have recognition of student volunteers for San Leandro Unified School District Professional Development Day.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. McLaughlin, esteemed cabinet. I am so happy to be here. My name is Celine Liu, Director of Teaching, Learning, Educational Equity. I'm happy to be here to recognize some incredible students that we had the opportunity to work with and interface with at our Professional Development Day on March 31st. As you know, on that day, our staff gathered together to continue developing our practice in teaching students and making sure we continuously improve. And even though it was the first day of their spring break, we had 11 students volunteer to come and support us over the course of the day. I have to say, if there's any decision I've made in this role as director, the one to have students among us in a professional learning session was definitely one of the good ones. These young people embody our SLUSD graduate profile. From the moment they checked in to their final moments of service in supporting our teachers and our presenters, they demonstrated the capacities that we hope every student in SLUSD develops over the course of their journey with us. When they showed up that day, these scholars showed up as ethical and cultural leaders, acting with compassion and empathy as they guided confused district staff around the huge and sometimes confusing SLHS main campus. Hi, do you need help finding your room? Okay, take that turn and that turn. Let me just walk you there. They leveraged their communication and collaboration skills as they listened carefully to the direction of their volunteer coordinator so they could deliver information efficiently and effectively. They collaborated to make sure they weren't just individually meeting their tasks to support the adults in the space, but also that they were collectively efficient. So they communicated with each other as well as their coordinator. These students are critical thinkers. When they were presented with tasks, such as making sure our presenters, many of whom are SLUSD staff, receive their materials in a timely way, they didn't just say, okay, this is my task. They organized to split it up to make the work more efficient. They jumped into problem solving mode, going beyond just simple completion of an assignment. And these 11 young adults demonstrated healthy minds and bodies. In the Arts Education Center, as we were transitioning from our wonderful keynote speaker to our workshop sessions, we asked them to stand up so people could see who was available to help them throughout the day. I know some of you were in the audience and you saw the way our volunteers stood up with so much energy, so much joy, really modeling confidence, compassion, and the capacity for interpersonal skills that we want all of our students to embody. Ask anyone who interacted with a student on March 31st, and I think you'll hear that they left that interaction with a smile, grateful not only for the support that was provided, but for the positive energy and attitude that the students brought and carried with them throughout the day. And as we moved through our day of professional learning, it was perfect to have these students in our midst, reminding us of our purpose as educators and the limitless possibility of our San Leandro scholars. Scholars, we look forward to your bright futures and we can't wait to hear what you'll do next. I'm delighted to call up a few of our volunteers from that day to receive a certificate of recognition and to maybe take a picture with board members and our superintendent. Most of them couldn't make it tonight, so they'll receive their recognition separately. But for tonight, we have Keyshawn Ward. If you will come on up, please, Keyshawn. Thank you. Stay here. Raquel Gonzalez, come on up. And then come on down, is Amaya Proctor, our student board member. So these are just 3 of our 11 amazing student volunteers who helped to make that day such a success. Thank you. So yeah, I think family might want something. Yes. Yeah. No problem. You're good. I'm gonna let you go. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You did a great job at city council the other week.
Thank you.
So great job. Yeah.
Really? All right, next up, we have 2024 bond update and feasibility report.
Waiting for this to come up. Thank you, everybody. All right, bond feasibility study. A couple parts here that I want to cover tonight. First, I want to talk about the refunding, recent refunding and our Measure N update. We had, as the board approved a resolution for refunding in February, and that refunding was finalized this last week. A total of $20.9 million in bonds were refunded. The magic number, the net debt savings after all costs was just over 3.5 million. It was actually under 3.5 million, but our Piper Sandler, the underwriter, lowered their fee just a little bit to make that, bring that up to 3.5. There had been the market I would call is a little bit unsettled as you read the news these days, and we hit it on a pretty good day. Not the best day ever, but a pretty good day for it. Not all of the bonds were sold for the refunding, but part of Piper Sandler's service is that anything that's unsold, they take on and then they are able to hopefully sell off later. So it didn't sell in the initial sale, but Piper Sandler took those. So successful refunding. Here's Measure N issuance. We know $198 million bond measure. Where we are at this moment in time, Series A and B and C have all been sold. The 75 million, 75 million, and 5 million for tech. From the blue line over is looking at the future, what we sort of guesstimate what we're going to need for this. And this is including $10 million in technology issuances. So that's the total for Measure N, looking at how we expect this to unroll, but there could be some play for that. Here's what the payoff looks like, that including this previous measures D, E, and F in the future. You can see how each of those play into a potential payoff bond rates into the future, that is tax rates per $100,000 of assessed valuation. And you can see at the bottom in red, Series D, dark blue, Series E, and then the green is Series F. So you can see how those play out over time. We have always set that target of $180 per 100,000, and we maintain that throughout. So that's, I'm sorry, that, go back, that format there, as you can see, the step down is what sort of leads us into the next part of the presentation, which is around this 2024 bond measure feasibility. Right. And in February, the other thing that you approved was a contract with True North to research community opinions around potential bond on the 2024 election. And the very first question, this initial ballot test with tax extension info, came in above 75% of the voters saying, yes, we actually do want to tax ourselves to continue to make improvements to the San Leandro Unified School District. And I just want to just acknowledge that. That is a tremendous number. There's a lot of districts that can't come close to that. And that's something that you all should be proud of, and the district should be proud of for all of its work. Community building, trust, communication, everything that goes on to making that number a reality. So this was regarding a tax extension scenario, meaning we don't go above that $180 over time. That was an important part of that as well, but 75.7%, fantastic. Now, digging into the details a little bit more of that 75.7, once they go through the spiel about the measure and the pros and the cons, what are the possible arguments against it, the final ballot question showed 70% support for November 2024. So still a very solid number at that. The thing about the San Leandro electorate is that the more people that vote, the better it is for our, the higher the turnout, the higher the yes for us. We know that. So we want to look at what's November versus what is March likely. And what they said is that November 70% as the final ballot test. March goes down to 63% because traditionally fewer people, though we do have a couple elections here in California that really could drive up participation for March, consequential election, so that you could see higher than normal. And then it's also important to point out that the margin of error for the survey was 4.3%. So potentially that 63% is maybe 59%. 59 is still above 55. The statement from True North here, one of the keys to building and sustaining support for the proposed measure will be the presence of an effective, well-organized public outreach effort and a separate independent campaign that focuses on the needs of the measure. So that's True North, and that's what we've done for every one of our successful campaigns in the past. Going on, True North tested certain items, like what's the community feel about certain things, and you can see things like upgrade older schools so that they meet current health codes, building and safety codes, provide proper access for students with disabilities, up to 82%. And here, even a little bit down the list, provide modern labs, career technical facilities, equipment to students are prepared for college, in-demand careers in fields like health sciences, engineering, tech, and skilled trades. Still 78% of the people are in favor of all of those items. So one of the things that we've been talking in the district about is the possibility of providing staff housing, knowing that there's housing difficulties in the Bay Area and also difficulties finding enough staff. So we did a couple things. One was we surveyed our staff internally, sent out an email last month, a survey, and we asked, would you be interested in renting a below market apartment within San Leandro Unified School District boundaries? We had 332 responses to that. Just over half of the people said yes. And not only said yes, there was a lot of really positive feedback, really positive comments. Thank you for looking into this. They know that something like that would be years away, but definitely supportive of that. So over half of our staff thinks that's a good idea. Also, at the same time, True North surveyed that, and they said one of their questions was around help construct affordable rental housing for school teachers, essential staff, so they can afford to live and work in the San Leandro Unified School District. And you can see that that was 75%, again, of the people, of the voters, support that idea of staff housing. So something to think about. Certainly going to be a decision around that at some point in the future. Here's sample ballot language. So based on the survey from True North, what they found, what resonates with voters, what the needs of our district are, possible voter language, again, draft here, in order to repair and maintain aging classrooms and school facilities, fix deteriorating roofs, plumbing, ventilation, and electrical systems, and upgrade classrooms, labs, and instructional technology to support science, math, engineering, arts, and skilled trades. Shall the San Leandro Unified School District measure be adopted, authorizing $156 million in bonds at legal rates with no increase in estimated tax rates, levying approximately $40 per $100,000 of assessed valuation, that is $11 million annually, while bonds are outstanding with citizens bond oversight and all money staying local. Right. So standard language for that, but that's really the result of what the researcher found. So getting into the nitty-gritty details, here's what a potential bond measure would look like. The gray on the left is everything that we looked at with measure N through those other three series. And then the green is potentially how you could fit $156 million of payoff into future years, again, staying under that $180 or $100,000 of assessed valuation. On the top right there, Dale Scott listed for us potential issuance schedule. It would depend on what our needs were for that, but that's a issuance schedule that fits within the framework, within that $180 or $100,000. And the assumptions, always critical to look at the assumptions. Are they reasonable? The annual assessed valuation growth, he has 3.5%. Our actual has been 4.5% over time for the last 20 years. So there's room for getting even better here over time. He also lists interest rates for facility bonds at 4.5%. Those are typically longer. And then for those ed tech bonds, the technology bonds at 3.5% because they're shorter term. Current interest rate bonds only, total of about $94 million in interest, an estimated payoff ratio of 1.6 to 1. So what would it look like a timeline? It's a possible timeline for March 2024 election would be to identify facility needs. Really, that would be ongoing work. Draft ballot language and legal documents. And that's something that would begin with our bond attorney that we've been working with for a number of years. Board action to take place on that bond ballot would be the resolution, the magic resolution we talked about. This has a September, but it really could be October. It could be November if we were certain of it. Remember that once that resolution is passed, no further campaigning, right, can come from the district. All that has to be handed over to an independent campaign. Deadline to file with the resolution with the county is estimated at December 8th. Excuse me. File argument in favor of the bond measure, December 13th estimated, and then election day on March 5th. And then after that, we'd be able to pick when we wanted to issue bonds. So bond feasibility study, the next steps, really one of the things that's been an important ingredient for our past success for bond measures, as well as our last parcel tax, is having a pre-election service, having an information advocacy campaign, as well as really knowing what it is that resolution, what do we want it to look like, and what do we want that 75-word statement to be. So on the agenda tonight, Stephen Cassidy has provided a proposal for us to consider, a service. He's worked on the last couple campaigns, successful campaigns for us. And that's something, again, that for the board to consider whether we want to do that. So with that, are there any questions or comments from the board?
C. Gonzalez.
Yeah, I have a couple. One comment Piper Sanders, glad they reduced their fee, but they have a lot more money coming from us in the pipeline. So
They're not hurting. They're not hurting, but it was just a funny one. It was a very small reduction, but it was nice to see
yes,
that.
we're helping them a lot. True North in the past has been right on with what polling says and then what we do. So I'm really excited to see that. The affordable housing wasn't in the sample ballot. And so that was the only thing that I would like to see the sample ballot have something about. I didn't see the affordable housing in the sample ballot language.
In terms of the questions from True North?
No, the language.
Oh, I
Was it
got
there
you.
and I
Okay.
missed it? Okay.
So, and that's one, there was that's something that obviously this is a draft of what it was, and we would have to talk about that. Not because it's 75 words, not every single project goes on that 75 word statement. Remember that there's other documentation behind it, and that's somewhere where that could be easily listed, right? He was listing with the very highest things. He was leading with the very highest things that resonated with the public that would also align with our needs as a district. And at this point, that's on there, and that's something that we could do if the board so desired. That would be that could be easily made part of the 75 word statement.
Yeah, I just feel like if this is where we're putting a chunk of that money, that we need to be upfront with it at the beginning with the community.
Understood.
So that's my personal feeling about that. And not do it in the side print. And it looks like we have enough support for it to be an item that we actually talk
At 75%, it's amazing support. It's not 82, but it's still 75.
It's still amazing support. And, and we did well with the March ballot last time. And so I think March is a better time. And then my last comment is I love the payoff ratio. I mean, that's very good payoff.
If you could do that on a home loan of 1.6, take that loan.
That's excellent. So thank you so much.
In past years, that would have been even better for this, but even considering that 4.5% interest, that is a good ratio.
I concur with Trustee Gonzalez about the language around the affordable housing there. I think it's going to be a bigger sell if we do it that way. It's something because the current language that you have in there is like past bond measures. And I think by putting that language in there, that's going to push it over the top.
Personalize it, make it San Leandro specific.
Absolutely. Because then I think people will identify with that more. And then also the net debt savings, that's somewhere in that language should be in there, I think, too. A lot. I don't think the public knows that we on our former bond that, you've done the work and we've saved the public $3 million. I think at 3.5, that's really outstanding information for people to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to you. You sat in on the part of it was making sure that we validated our credit rating with Standard & Poor's, and President Oshinsky was part of that meeting with S&P.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Collins.
Thank you.
Next up, reports, correspondence.
Good evening. I have our correspondence report from April 20th to yesterday. Start off with the first one. We received an email from Starla Colburn regarding gun violence threat. Beyond Differences final. Buy it online now. CSBA with the CSBA Daily News. Building Futures. Tickets available. Philip Moeller, California Election Guide. Emily Greggio from the CEO. There's time to celebrate and time to learn. Shireen Moria, San Leandro USD interim board letter. Grease 99, complaint against the board of trustees for Chabot. Derek, Pilot City, guaranteed simulated student internships. Ryan Lau, AC Transit Breakfast. Boys and Girls Club News. Cal School News Update. CSBA Weekly Update. Innovative Public Schools. Parents brought power to the West Coast. California STEAM Symposium. We're hiring. Building Futures. 1 week away. Get your ticket. And San Leandro Chamber. Thank you. 100th year business gala photos. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, trustee Sheridan. Next up, student board member report.
Okay, I have a relatively short board report this evening. I would like to talk about the fundraiser that was held on Thursday, April 20th, in regards to the scholarship fundraising. We had an excellent time working there. I just want to say that we were able to observe culinary and food prep experience while working with the public. And we had a lot of fun. Like there was definitely an element of growth and teamwork in serving our guests and mingling with our guests. I wish that more people had signed up because it was a really fun experience just to see how things work behind the kitchen scenes and then coming out to serve people. And then there was a little bit of a rush of adrenaline, getting everyone's orders and everything like that. It was really fun. Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week is this week, and leadership has been making individualized thank you cards for all the teachers and staff at San Leandro High School so that we have something material and something to show them our appreciation and love for what they do. Our African American Recognition Night will be moved to next year because we did not have enough signups, but we're still working to have that started up next year for the upcoming 2024 graduation class. And then I had observed something this week. After school, I walk home, I walk down Bancroft because I live off Arbor. And I noticed that we have a lot of community support within our school systems. Like I walk past Bancroft Middle School and I always notice that there's parents and teachers there at games and after school. Karen, I think that's something that's really important because it takes a community and it takes a village to really raise a student or a child to their best of their advantage and their best of their growth. And being able to see community and staff support is such a beautiful thing. It's so nice to see just turning when I walk past Bancroft, seeing everybody be so supportive. It's beautiful just to notice, and it's really refreshing just to notice how involved our community is with the development of our schools. That's an amazing thing to have.
Thank you, trustee Proctor. It's always a pleasure to hear you speak. Next up, board committee reports, communication and advocacy.
Yes, we met on May 3rd. We had an talk about the bond update. And again, our communication talks about communication for bond update. And we talked about the fact that we need to start messaging with signs and on our website which schools are going to be closed this summer, so that our community is very aware when they arrive and all the gates are closed, that because there's a construction project, they know it's going to be happening. We looked at the resolution, events, and awareness calendar. And our own Miss Mayfields brought us a resolution for Juneteenth. And so we edited it, gave feedback, and so there's a resolution now for Juneteenth. District communication projects, because I, as always, has been working very, very hard. The new one that she brought to us was radio ads. And so there are ads before and during the Warriors game for San Leandro, which beautiful timing, and I hope they continue to play so we get we get full use of those ads. But I know from April to May is the contract for those ads. Very cool. And then we previewed work from a contractor on videos for recruitment and bond projects, and we did say to explore getting a quote from them for that work. Even though we did say that the work that has been done in the past from our own staff, because I over there, has been better than the work we saw, we understand that it's time to hire someone else besides having her do all of it. Community presentations. So the Bay Vista Homeowners Association had asked for someone to come from the school district, and because I.M. Moss represented us there. And I will say the feedback I got was that she's a superstar and so excited that she works for our school district, and to make sure we keep her. That was from the Homeowners Association. And then from Estadio Estates on the same night, Aaron Kerrigan went because they were very interested in the trees and the conversation, and got great feedback from that community as well. So thank you both for representing us so well in the community. We did do some more planning for the Cherry Festival discussion, but we're all booked. We have a double-decker. It looks like a San Francisco cable car on the bottom, but it has another deck on top. So we're going to share. Wrestlers are going to be on top because they won states, and then we as board members will be on the bottom. So, we talked under advocacy about the trip to Washington that both James and I went to. And I will, after this meeting, actually share the prep materials we had for that, because they did a great job of preparing us to actually go and meet with our people. One of the highlights to me was we knew that Eric Swalwell he is the ranking member on cybersecurity. So we knew he would be interested in that. And so he's actually, he asked us, would we be interested in there being a conference here in Alameda for nonprofit schools, cities, to come and learn from Silicon Valley people. How do you prepare for a cyber attack? And then what do you do after a cyber attack? And so we all shook our heads yes. And he turned to staff and said, schedule it for July. And so we should be, all of us, getting a invitation to this conference. Because again, we can't, as a school district, keep up with all of the threats that are out there. We need some help from our federal government. And then there was a lot of other issues we talked about. So I think the easiest thing is to just share our materials. Do you have handouts? Oh, so he brought the handouts. So we'll pass those out. And I do think that they actually, in Washington, they did show us, the CSBA did a national poll. And one of the things is what we're seeing from True North, some of that language is exactly resonating across the country of what they want to see money spent on. And, so our poll was the same, which is great. So, okay, so we talked about under new business, the Parks and Rec position, and I will bring it up in consensus because we do not have, remember how I used to come and then Ed Shapiro replaced me and he used to come and give updates. And I chair that subcommittee, that little ad hoc committee, and it's Peter and Leo that were on it way back when. And so anyways, we'll bring it back up into consensus because I dropped the ball. And then we also talked under new business about the fact that date, that we would possibly, because we're advocating for a name change for the date committee, because it sounds like you're dealing only with behaviors after they've been bad, whereas you do a lot more work on proactive. And so I think that committee shouldn't just be drug, alcohol, tobacco. It should be other, behavioral as well. So we need to have a more inclusive name for that committee. So I pass that off to the chair. So I'm handing that to the chair of that committee to work on, if you so choose to not follow through. That ends my report.
All right, next up, curriculum and policy.
We will meet on Monday, May 22nd in the conference room from 5 to 6:30.
Next, facilities and technology.
Thank you. F&T met on Wednesday, May 3rd. We started off, as always, with a technology update from Larry Simon. We had a couple items on our consent. And then we went over some of the projects going on in the district. You will see a couple of them on the agenda later for action, including, I think there's a project for some painting over at Roosevelt. You will see some information for another item on trees that were cut down, and then some of the projects that are going on at the Bancroft Courtyard and the drop-off at McKinley. And that was about it for our meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Sheridan. Finance, we'll be meeting on June 21st.
Date for now. We'll be meeting May 17th.
Thank you again, Trustee Sheridan. Update. All right, next, consent agenda. Are there any polls this evening? Seeing there are none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent.
Moved by Trustee Gonzalez, seconded by Trustee Perola. Please vote. All in favor? Motion carries 7+1. Action discussion items. General services. 1A, adopt resolution 2323, Juneteenth Independence Day.
I'll move that one.
Moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Tate. All those in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7+1. M2, Public Employee Performance Evaluation Title GCS 54. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I turned the wrong page. Approve resolution 20 business 2, contract with Stephen Cassidy for pre-election services. I'll second. Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Oshinsky. All in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7+1. Item 2B, agreement with Eden Area ROP for strong workforce program funding. Approve MOU with Eden ROP for strong workforce program connections grant also.
I'll move 2B.
Moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Tate. All in favor? Motion carries 7+1. Approve expulsion hearing for case E08-2223. Approve the expulsion case for E08-2223.
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Pearl, seconded by trustee Pearl. All those in favor, please vote. I'm sorry, trustee Sheridan. Discussion. Yes, absolutely. Okay, all those in favor of the seconded motion? Motion carries 7+1. 3B, MOU between Vision to Learn and San Leandro Unified School District. Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. All in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7+1. Item 3C, 2023-2024 employee work calendars.
I'll move item 3C.
Moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Tate. All in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7+1. Item 3D, paraeducator job descriptions, mid-moderate and moderate severe.
Move 3D.
Moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Tate. All in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7+1. 4A, San Leandro Virtual Academy initial accreditation approval from the Accrediting Commission for Schools, Western Association of Schools and Colleges. Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Tate. All those in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7+1. 4B, approval of Renaissance Star 360, Renaissance Star Math, and Renaissance Star Reading for San Leandro Unified K-12 Comprehensive Assessment System. Moved by trustee Perola, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. Motion carries 7+1 absent. Item 5A, capital improvement request, Roosevelt Elementary Peace Path.
I'll second that.
Moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Sheridan. I'm sorry, trustee Pearl.
We talked about it at F&T. It has like footsteps, as nice words as you're walking. Yeah.
Please vote. Motion carries 7+1. Item 5B, emergency removal of 4 eucalyptus trees in the creek at Bancroft Middle School.
I'll move 5B. I'll second.
Moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Pearl. All those in favor? Motion carries 7 plus a happy 1. Item 5C, Suarez and Munoz LLB contract, Bancroft Middle School courtyard.
I'll move 5C.
Moved by trustee Pearl, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. Motion carries 7 plus 1. Item 5D, Rod and Builders LLB contract, McKinley Elementary School drop off.
Second.
Moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Pearl. All in favor, please vote. Motion carries 7 plus 1. Item 6A, classroom Chromebook refresh. Pardon me?
Letting them know. I'd like to move that one, please.
Still reeling from that thing.
Moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. All those in favor, please.
We have
I'm sorry.
Just a very quick question. Is this for the devices like the Chromebook carts, or is like the one-to-one, or is it like our extra devices? I know I had parents asking the same question recently.
Yeah, generally we'll use these newer devices to cycle out the devices in the carts, and the devices have a few more years on them will go back to the students. So we try and get as many years as we can.
Anyone else? Okay, please vote. Motion carries 7 plus 1. Next up, cabinet reports. Superintendent.
Glad you moved so long. I got stuck with jury duty this morning, so barely hanging on. Thank God they let me out. Having a good time last couple of weeks. I've been going around with Miss Moss, doing a lot of awards and appreciations, and there's not one employee in this district doesn't work hard and do great things. So it's wonderful to go around and hand them some treats and some appreciations, get some smiles, and it's hard to get them to stop working and take a picture, you know. So I mean, it's the food service school was a school lunch heroes. That was fun. Go around and do and see that whole part of what Peter deals with on a daily basis. So thank you for organizing that. I mean, just like you said before, and what the Bay Vista people get to see, there's a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot of gifts putting together, ordering, and you should see some of the stuff for the Cherry Festival she's got ready. I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't know whose idea was to hire you, Keziah, but they must be smart. Scholarship dinner was great to be back in person. What a treat to see everybody back together talking about good things. I had a lot of people come and just say great things about the schools and how excited they are to support the scholarships, and you know, always some neat prizes to put in the silent auction. And I'm sure some of you guys will echo this. Clell knocked it out of the park. The food was just delicious. So again, and the volunteers from the high school were great. Kept bringing me cake. I kept saying no, but you kept bringing me more cake. Yeah, it was great. Just love this time of year. We get to see open houses. We get to see what we're here for. Kids graduating, kids excited about school, and good times. I did get some information. The walkout Thursday will only be in the front of the high school. So Richardson's gave me an update. So I just wanted to give you that update. And with that, you know, my team will have other exciting things to say that I didn't want to steal their thunder. So anyways, that's it for me.
Thank you, Dr. McLaughlin. Next up, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Patel.
Good evening. Let me bring the thunder. I am very excited and proud to report that SLUSD will be awarded a $10.4 million grant for the California Community Schools Partnership Program from the California State Board of Education, pending their board approval on May 18th. That's $10.4 million over the next 5 years to fund community-based programs and services focused on academic health and social support. We got this grant because of our deep commitment to making schools safe and inclusive, for successful a successful planning grant at Jefferson that showed that we have the stuff to be able to do it. Because of our existing infrastructure and systems that you all have helped build here. And it makes us easy to partner with community-based organizations. And so we've been awarded. Look forward, board members, to seeing after-school programming, mental health services, and support staff to coordinate wraparound care for our students at our schools that qualify, which are elementary schools Garfield, Jefferson, Hall Keene, McKinley, and Monroe, middle schools Bancroft and John Muir, and Lincoln High School. We want to give a deep appreciation to the principals of those schools who during the busy month of March were assisting us with the massive grant application by writing about their site-based needs and their dreams for what they'd like to plan and provide for students. And a big shout out to our Ed Services team who worked hard on this one together, led by the fearless Joanne Clark and supported by the team Celine Liu, Thomas Reinhardt, Doris Castillo, Rachel Watanya, Monica Guzman, with support from Assistant Soup Larry Simon and Director Keziah Moss. We're just really proud of the teamwork. It took so many hands to do this during the same week, month leading up to PD Day, and we're overjoyed for what it'll mean for our students and families. I look forward to updating the board with the presentation on some aspects of this grant and what it'll bring when we present the LCAP in June. So just 10.4, yeah, really excited. We'll also share who else kind of got it in the area, and you'll see that it's a very big sum for the size that we are, which is really exciting. In other news, it was a big week for career readiness and exploration at our middle and high schools. Today, Muir held a career day that included many local community members representing different jobs, from airline pilot to chiropractor to data program analysts for the food bank to city mayor. Big shout out to Principal Alvarez, the leadership teachers, students, history department, parent facilitators, counselors, campus supervisors, and front office staff, because it took all of them to coordinate the great day for all the 8th grade Falcons. And our students in Mr. Andy Shire's auto tech program at the high school also had a major field trip in the career arena to the Tesla factory, where they got to see how the latest innovations in assembly works in the auto industry. And a big shout out to Barry Weiss and Jasmine Marquez, our college and career support staff there, for organizing the event. And lastly, we're already ready for next year. We're looking forward to planning a week of professional learning August 7th through 11th before school starts, and we're calling it Jumpstart PD. It'll be a week of optional professional learning, highly encouraged, offered to new and returning teachers the week before school starts, so they can start the year strong. Sessions will include, in addition to things like setting up a classroom for success, universal design for learning, training on our board adopted curriculum and supplemental curriculum, integrated English language development, and supporting students with IEPs in the general ed setting, and supporting students with 504s. Mark your calendars if you'd like to drop in that week to see our folks in action leading up to the start of next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Well, next up, our Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Service, Dr. Zenefteen.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. McLaughlin. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome to our organization Mr. Jeff Sloan, who will be our new Vice Principal at Bancroft Middle School, and Miss Emily Hill, who will be our new Vice Principal at Madison Elementary. So we look forward to onboarding them. In the Administrative Services Division, we're busy preparing many of the end of the year celebrations. In particular, one of our newest, which will be hosting a retirement dinner. We hope that you will all be able to join us that evening as we wish our retirees the very best as they prepare for their new adventures. And we hope that they've had a long, fruitful career with us. So we will be at Horatios. It's scheduled to happen on June 1st. So you'll be receiving an invite to let us know if you can attend. We'll also be ending the year with celebrating the teacher induction graduations, better known as the CTI colloquium. This celebration includes all of those new teachers who've done the hard work to clear their credentials with the help and support of their mentor teachers. So this is planned for May 26th at the BLC. And finally, we're just looking forward to hosting what will be our second annual Friends and Family Resource event on May 31st from 5:30 to 7:30. This event really just celebrates the culmination of the Family Landing Pad Learning Series that we held throughout this year. The parents participated, and so we'll have resource tables, we'll have raffles, we'll have guest speakers, just to give thanks to all the families who attended. It's open to everyone, so be sure to look out for your invite for that event. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Next up, Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, Dr. Collins.
Good evening again, board. Brief update this evening for business. The May revise is going to be released this week by the state, and we're looking forward to finding out what COLA the governor will be recommending for funding for next year. To date, the governor has proposed very few new programs for 23-24 that aren't already funded or announced. What we do know is that the COLA will have a large impact on our budget for next year, and a lot of anticipation about what the state is going to be putting forward. Also, with the approval of the pre-election services contract for a possible 2024 bond measure, I'm excited and looking forward to working with Stephen Cassidy as we lay the groundwork for a possible ballot measure next year. So thank you for that. That's it.
Next up, Assistant Superintendent of Information Services, Mr. Larry Simon.
Thank you. I'd just like to say our technology staff begin the process of working with our external cybersecurity company to audit the district systems and procedures. As part of that, they're looking at not only our technical information, but also our policies and procedures that we have. We're evaluating our systems against what's called the NIST cybersecurity framework put out by the Department of Commerce. It's one of the better frameworks out there to help businesses and organizations mitigate the risks against our organization and try and keep information safe. It's important to note it would be stranger if we didn't find anything. So I am expecting things to come out in this report, and we should have it available in the next few months. That's how long this process will take. And I'm looking forward to being able to share it with everyone. This is going to be the first step in a long multi-year journey to just make sure we keep all of our staff and students' information safe. Thank you.
Mr. Simon. Next up, Board Representative reports, Alameda County School Boards Association.
We have not yet had another meeting, and I'm not sure the date has been set yet for our next meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Earl. Next up, Eden ROP.
Yes, so I have to admit, I don't have my notes because my nephew brought my computer bag into my house instead of my husband's bag. And so I had his computer and his stuff, so I can give you updates on the city. So it's just from memory. Once a year, at the end of the school year, they participate in these competitions. And Peter and James, what were the competition name? It starts with an S, I believe. Well, I'll give you that later on, but it's a competition that they send students to, and they compete on the state level. And what is it? No, I don't know. Anyways, it's a competition that they go and do hands-on projects, and we placed in every category. We had a student that placed, and then in automotive, there's the automotive, the painting and redesigning. There's the one that's the engineering behind it, automotive, and then there's a third automotive level. And we placed number one in all of them. And then we also swept in one of the categories where all three of the places are ROP students. And so all of those students, I think there's 11 of them that placed, are going on to Atlanta. And so that's a very big showing for a little tiny ROP. So excited about that. Our closed session took a lot more time than our open session because there's a lot of employee issues and problems that are happening behind the scenes. But that's why I don't remember a lot about the open session. But I think that winning and sweeping, especially in those categories, is a really, really, thing to celebrate for them. That concludes my report. And if I forgot something, I'll report it next time.
All right, thank you, Trustee. Next up, Mid-Alameda County SELPA.
So we met on May 1st for a special meeting to discuss the director that handles the SELPA at Castro Valley. And so it was an informational meeting, but the next meeting, which will be on May 19th, is to determine if we want to have that director be hired to continue with the 0.3% or 0.5% or a full-time director. So I know that Mike and Kevin will talk to the superintendent in Castro Valley to get more in depth about it so we can, because it would impact our budget. So each district, San Leandro, Hayward, Castro Valley, and San Lorenzo. Thank you. I was trying to figure out who's the fourth district. We all have to contribute based on enrollment. So, we obviously have to budget and allocate if there's an increase. So we need more information, but they do anticipate voting on something May 19th. That concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee. Next up, City Disaster Preparedness Council.
The City Disaster Preparedness Council has not met yet. I would like to propose a name change because I doubt that we would be prepared. I'd like to thank Dr. Collins, though, for throwing me a bone and inviting me to Finance Committee in June. Gives me something to do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, next up, consensus item. Let me see, trustee Gonzalez.
So this is where I want to bring up, I would like to have me pulled from the committee that's looking at who is going to be our next Recreation and Parks Commissioner that represents our school district, and to replace me with Jackie, and I will happily hand everything over to her. I'm sure she will.
Since we're all freshmen on this committee, would you advise us on the process?
Yeah, I mean, the process is pretty easy. So I'll give you, that's what Miss Mayfield so kindly sent me everything you need to make it happen. And I didn't make it happen. And after a year, I need to, say, I'm not going to fail again. I'm just going to hand it to somebody else.
Let her go.
No, you don't have to vote because we created this under consensus. And so I'm just saying, replace me.
It's up for that. Sure.
Then. So yes and no, but that's where our commissioner would have say in that. And the real reason we need to have someone on right now is they're doing the park survey. And so we need our voice at that committee. So I used to be the person that represented the school district for, I think, 4 or 5 years. And so that's why I said I'll chair it, but my plate is full and it's always at the bottom. So I need someone with a more exciting plate. So once we figure out who that person is, I think as a former school board student representative, it would be great for you to meet with that person and give some feedback. I think that would be excellent. Yeah.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes, just the thought, something that's sort of been coming up for me and just having lots of conversations. I want to appreciate our cabinet who meets with me whenever I ask and responds to all of my emails and questions as a newbie. But just in talking to some families and teachers, one of the things that's been coming up for me around mental health and just sort of student self-image and also inner student conflict is the topic of, I'll describe it as digital citizenship. And just the topic around, how students are interacting with social media, how much they're consuming social media. So as a newbie on the board, I was just curious if we might be bring that up as a topic of conversation. I don't know if it's a study or a discussion or something that comes up in a committee or where it lives. I don't know if we've talked about it recently, but as a fresh set of eyes on the board, I think it could be a good, timely conversation to have. It definitely impacts our middle and high, but I see it as early as elementary school. So just wanted to present that for consideration.
Yeah, we're happy to agendize that as a discussion item in board curriculum committee, where we can share what we currently have for acceptable use policy, digital literacy curriculum. And we're also engaging in a pilot of new resources for elementary, so we can share that work.
Yeah, is my mic on? Okay. This may have come up already and maybe I missed it, but I was thinking about the kinds of things, subjects that we offer to the kids for variety. And I'm wondering, do we offer any kind of a beginning engineering course?
We do. We have a pathway around that that starts in the high school. And then we also have curriculum that the teachers try to include, whether it's through math or science, in some of the just foundations of science and engineering practices.
Yeah, I know it would be included in the other curriculum, but I just didn't know if we had a specific class for that. Okay, the other thing is, and I know that we do a lot of teaching of writing, but is there a specific class that is just creative writing?
There are courses that are written for creative writing, but right now students are rostered into the English courses that are required by the state of California that they have to take for 4 years. Should students have an elective or something like that, and if there are enough signups, there are courses that are like that to extend into writing. But no, students are rostered into the English classes, which do contain a fair amount of writing, and we've created some alternates to just English 1, 2, or 3 that allow for different kinds of literature and different kind of approaches to the standard English
Included
curriculum.
A lot of those things. I just wondered if we had a specific class.
Yeah, I can share the course catalog with you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right. Additional suggestions and comments from board members. Trustee Parola,
I'm sorry, what did you say?
do you have any comments?
No.
Gonzalez?
So I want to say thank you for the Scholarship Foundation dinner, for so many of you coming out and being a part of that night. It really meant a lot to the foundation that we had a big presence. If you haven't paid, they would love for you to send the money. So I did say I would put a plug in. You can give me a check. You can go online and donate through the website. Or you can mail in your check. Any of those things is totally acceptable. They're trying to finalize what we made that evening, and it's looking like it's probably 25 to 30,000. So it was a very, very successful fundraiser, and our biggest one yet. And the food, everyone's talking about the food, how amazing it was. So we did have some that were tentative about having our food services do an elegant dinner, but everyone said they blew it out of the water. So that was amazing. The DC trip. One of the beautiful things about that is you get to spend time with your fellow trustees from all over, California. And especially we spent a lot of time with those in Alameda County because we're going to talk to the same representatives. I'm extremely happy I'm in San Leandro Unified. I'm standing there waiting for the Barbara Lee session. And their trustees in Oakland are getting a text message that a ceiling tile fell on one of their teachers. And so the teacher had to be taken to the hospital. And so I'm like, we've been able to upkeep our buildings and to have pretty nice facilities. And that's not what we have to deal with on a regular basis. So I'm really, really happy for all the work that has gone into our facilities. And then on the education side, we have a lot more conversations about education because we're not having to deal with all of the other issues, with negotiations, with facility issues. And so it just made us really, really, shine. And then the fact that we're able to pass bonds across the country, across the state, many districts have never been able to pass one bond. And we just getting our community, and the community is happy with what we're doing. So it's a cycle. We had to communicate, we had to build the relationship with the community. And now we have they understand and they respect that we're going to do what we say we are going to do with the funds. And so anyways, it made me feel very proud that I'm in this district. And so thank you for all of you that make this district the star that it is. So thank you.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes, I want to just repeat a few of the appreciations. I had a wonderful time at the Scholarship Foundation dinner. Thank you for all of your hard work along with the rest of the foundation putting that together. It was lovely. And I always say positive things about our food services. That was another example, but I like to joke that my son, when I offer him summer camp opportunities, asks if they'll be serving the school lunch because he only wants to attend if they're serving school lunch in the summer. So just again, more kudos to our food services. Great to be seeing all the appreciations that are happening across the city. And the more time you spend in schools, you realize how hard everyone's working, and it's the end of the year. People are really tired, so it's a nice time to be celebrating them. I mentioned it earlier, but I want to appreciate again the cabinet, who particularly I met with Dr. Patel recently and Joanne Clark, who continue to do deep dives with me on topics as I continue to kind of do all of my learning Again, I know it's a very busy time, so just want to appreciate how responsive our cabinet is, our staff is when I have inquiries and questions, because I know that they have their plates are full. I think that's all I have for tonight. Yep. Thank you.
Trustee Aguilar.
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiment that Scholarship Foundation dinner was, oh my God, fantastic. And thank you, Clell Hoffman. He is amazing. And so I think it was just another great opportunity for us to show, as Evelyn was saying, that we're a shining light, that we really are on top of it, and that our community supports us, and that we have a great staff that puts it all together. So that's you, Cabinet. That's you too, Dr. Mike. Thank you for all you do. I rarely have a chance to pop over to school site events, but I got to pop over the Roosevelt PTA auction, which was fantastic. Oh my God. So I had a lot of fun there. And Coast to Coast, which was really amazing experience. We weren't only in the room with Congressman Swalwell. Evelyn was with Barbara Lee's staff. I had to fly out earlier though. But we also got a chance just to interact quickly with former Speaker Pelosi. Got to interact with Judy Chu, Ted Lieu, a bunch of these really big figures that, and I'll say this because we're California, that respect public education. Now, other states, not so much. I mean, we've got Florida, who's literally banning the teaching of sexual orientation and gender in all grade levels. But in California, we're way centuries ahead, right? And so I think, if anything, it's made me grateful of where we are in San Leandro as far as progress. So like Trustee Gonzalez said, we're doing an amazing job. But not only that, we're lucky to be in the community that we are, as diverse as it is. So I think it was a great realization of that. But it was also productive, among other things. A lot of fun. And I think that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Sheridan.
Trustee Aguilar, are you really surprised about what's going on in Florida? I mean, that guy's battling it out with Mickey Mouse. I'd just like to leave this with you guys. 30 days until the last day of school. 30 days.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Tate.
Thank you for reminding us. Anyway, well, I do want to say it was such a pleasure to hear the radio ads when I heard it in my car. I was about to turn the channel because I didn't want to hear commercials, and it came on, and I was like, wow, listen to that. I've heard it several times, which has been a quite pleasurable commercial, I would say. And I attended the AC Transit breakfast on May 4th, sorry. And it was really nice to collaborate with other officials and talk about collaborating and AC Transit and what's happening, because I know a lot of our students and employees use AC Transit. So it's always good to collaborate. And then that's it. So I'm looking forward to the summer. Thank you.
I would just like to thank everyone here in this room and thank the community for making this district a very fabulous district. I've been in different school districts, and I can honestly say this is the best school district I've been in ever. You guys are counting down days until school's out. I'm not. I'm actually kind of sad that these are the last 30 days of my high school experience, considering I've had a really good one. But, you know, I'm still got to make it count. So just thank you to everyone here this evening.
Thank you, Trustee. I too echo about the Scholarship Foundation dinner. It was outstanding. It was so great to be in person to one of those events. It's been a long time. I did send an email to Clell the following Monday, congratulate him. I've been in the food service business for 50 years. I've had my own catering business. I told him it was like a well-oiled catering machine. They were outstanding. And I have to say it was the best food we've ever had at one of the scholarship dinners. And I was also very successful in the auction. I beat Trustee Gonzalez's sons out for a painting, so I'm very proud of that. And I also want to echo what Trustee Gonzalez said about being very proud about being a part of this district, especially in terms of the bond, being so proactive in going out for a bond again. You know, it looks like we're going to be very successful, and I appreciate starting it now, so we'll be up and running by the time we need to be. And I'm just really proud of that also. That's it for me. Sure. Trustee Tate.
I meant to say, it was super easy to donate for the Scholarship Foundation online too. Because I remember the days when you had to give a check, but it was super easy to donate. So I was able to do that. I didn't go to the dinner, but I was able to participate. So happy about that. Good, perfect, awesome. Thank you, Gonzalez family.
All right, our next board meeting is a special board meeting, Celebrate Schools, which is one of our favorites, on Tuesday, May 23rd. And then finally, we're going to adjourn this evening in the memory of Diego Canto Padilla. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Gonzalez. Please vote. Motion carries 7+1, meeting adjourned.